It was a crisp autumn afternoon in Central Park, New York. The air was cool but not biting, leaves fell like golden confetti, and families filled the paths with laughter. Amid the life and noise of the park sat a man on a wooden bench, alone, shoulders slumped, suit jacket wrinkled from hours of wear. His face was sharp, handsome even, but tired, so tired that anyone who passed him could sense he was carrying something heavy. That man was Ethan Cole, the CEO of a billion-dollar tech company, known to the world as ruthless, decisive, brilliant. On magazine covers, he looked invincible. But right now, he looked like a man who had lost everything. That very morning, his board of directors had threatened to remove him as CEO. His company was facing lawsuits, his investors were losing faith, and his personal life, already fragile, had collapsed. His father had passed away the previous week, and the guilt of never spending enough time with him was eating him alive. The world thought he had it all. But the truth was, Ethan Cole was a man drowning quietly in plain sight. He leaned forward, elbows on his knees, staring at the gravel under his polished shoes. "What's the point anymore?" he whispered under his breath, though no one could hear him. And then, out of nowhere, a small pair of shoes stopped right in front of him, pink sneakers with tiny glittering stars. He looked up and saw her, a little girl, no older than 6, holding a worn-out teddy bear in one hand. Her brown hair was in 2 uneven pigtails, and her eyes, big, curious and innocent, studied him with the kind of honesty only a child could have. "You look sad," she said simply, tilting her head. Ethan blinked, caught off guard. He cleared his throat, forcing a smile. "I guess I am." Without another word, the little girl extended her teddy bear toward him. "You can take my teddy. He makes me feel better when I'm sad." Ethan froze. He stared at the stuffed bear, one ear bent, a patch sewn onto its belly, its fur faded from years of love. He hadn't held a teddy bear in decades. The gesture was so pure, so unexpected, that his throat tightened. I can't take your teddy," he said softly, almost ashamed. "He's yours." The little girl shrugged. "That's okay. You need him more right now." For a long moment, Ethan just sat there, the world around them disappearing. No ringing phones, no angry board members, no cold corporate walls, just a child offering him something she valued most. Slowly, almost reverently, he took the teddy bear from her small hands, and to his surprise, his eyes stung, his chest ached. For the first time in years, Ethan felt tears burn his eyes. He turned away quickly, but the little girl noticed. She didn't laugh, didn't judge. Instead, she climbed onto the bench beside him and said, "It's okay to cry. My mummy says crying makes your heart lighter." Something broke inside him. This stranger, a child, was giving him permission to feel. And so, for the first time since his father's funeral, Ethan let the tears fall. He sat there, holding the teddy bear, while a 6-year-old sat beside him in silence, swinging her legs as if everything in the world was perfectly normal. After a while, Ethan wiped his face. "Thank you," he whispered. She grinned. "You're welcome. Teddy's good at hugs, too. You should try it." Ethan actually chuckled, a sound he hadn't heard from himself in weeks. He hugged the bear, shaking his head in disbelief. "What's your name?" "Lily," she said proudly. "Nice to meet you, Lily. I'm Ethan." Lily nodded, then leaned in closer and whispered like it was a big secret. "My daddy left. My mommy says he had big problems in his head. So when people look sad, I like to help. Maybe then they won't leave." Ethan's heart clenched. He looked at this little girl, barely old enough to understand pain, yet already carrying so much of it. And still, her instinct was to give, to comfort, to heal. Before he could say anything more, a woman came rushing down the path. "Lily, there you are!" She looked flustered but relieved, and when her eyes landed on Ethan, sitting there with the teddy bear, her expression shifted to cautious concern. "Sweetheart, you can't just run off like that," the woman scolded gently, kneeling beside her daughter. "But Mommy," Lily protested, "he was sad. I gave him Teddy to make him better." The woman looked at Ethan, who gave an awkward, embarrassed smile. She really did help, he admitted, his voice low but sincere. The mother softened, giving him a small nod. That's Lily, always trying to fix the world. They chatted briefly, and then Lily's mother took her hand to leave. Lily looked back at Ethan one last time. Don't forget, Teddy works best if you believe in him. And with that, she skipped away, leaving Ethan sitting on the bench with a patched-up teddy bear and a heart that suddenly felt just a little less heavy. Oh, that night, when Ethan returned to his penthouse apartment, the city lights glittering outside his window, he placed the teddy bear on his desk. He stared at it for a long time, and then, almost without thinking, he opened his laptop and began typing. Not another corporate strategy or legal defense, but a letter, a resignation letter. For years, Ethan had been chasing numbers, prestige, power, but in the span of a single afternoon, a child had reminded him of something far more important: humanity. Instead of stepping back into the corporate world, Ethan decided to use his wealth and experience to create something different. A foundation dedicated to supporting children from broken homes, those carrying silent burdens like Lily. And the name of that foundation, Teddy's Promise. Months later, at the grand opening of the first community center, reporters and cameras crowded the stage. Ethan stood at the podium, the same teddy bear in his hands. He told the story about a little girl in the park who noticed his sadness when the rest of the world didn't. How she gave him the very thing she loved most, how her kindness pulled him back from the edge. In the audience, Lily and her mother sat in the front row, unaware until that moment of just how much their small act had changed his life. When the applause roared and Ethan stepped down, he knelt in front of Lily, handing Teddy back to her. "He saved me," Ethan said, voice thick with emotion. "But I think he belongs with you." Lily shook her head, smiling brightly. "Nope, he belongs to both of us now. You just have to share." Ethan laughed through his tears, and for the first time in a very, very long time, his heart felt whole. Sometimes the greatest acts of kindness come from the smallest hearts. You never know how a simple gesture, a smile, a word, a teddy bear can change the course of someone's life.